Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome to a live pregame
Sunday morning
episode of the Dawgs podcast, hanging out with you guys live here on YouTube. And we're trying to go live on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure if it's even working, but I guess we'll figure it out. Trying something a little new today. This was totally off the cuff, not exactly planned or scheduled. Justin and I are actually in the studio today because we just got done interviewing Felix Wright.
Yes.
Came
Brown.
in. Yeah, so shout out to the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. They brought Felix Wright in for the game today. They're having their event over at Shenanigans Bar and Grill here in Dover, Ohio. So if you guys are local to Tuscarawas County, Dover, Philly area, check out Shenanigans. Head over there today.
I think I'm going to go.
Yeah, Justin's going to be there.
I'm going to go hang out. Yeah.
Head over there today. You guys get to meet Felix Wright. And,
get to meet my kids.
Justin's kids, yeah. Probably not as exciting, but they are definitely full of energy, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But no, Felix was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great sit down. I hate calling those things interviews. It was a good conversation.
Yes,
like it was just he's told his entire story of his journey from basically thinking, I guess I'm just going to be a coach forever and
teacher. Yep.
Yeah, teacher, coach, and then he ends up just being in the right place at the right time, multiple spots, getting his shot in the NFL.
Incredible.
It was
story.
A great journey. So looks like we are live on YouTube. Ashton, thank you for being here in the chat. Says, tell me there's hope. We are going to talk about the game today. We are probably not going to tell you there's hope, but
I'll try to be positive.
Justin's the eternal optimist, so he's definitely going to present that side of the argument. I will not. So we'll dive into that. Blake's obviously not here today. He's got Sunday family stuff going on, but glad we were able to make it into the studio for the Felix Wright interview. That'll come out later this week, so guys, stay tuned for that. And I don't know. I guess you want to talk about the Browns game? That's what we're doing here, so might as well talk about this Browns-Eagles at 1 o'clock.
Yes. How you feeling about it?
Not good.
Okay. Well, hey, let's move on to more positive things. Breaking news, I think it was yesterday?
Kenny Mack's in the house. Woof, woof.
Woof, for sure, woof. Hopefully not woof, but.
Oh, it will be a woof. Yeah. No exclamation. But anyway, go ahead with your positive news.
I guess positive news would be, next weekend, Nick Chubb will be playing.
Barring any setbacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be playing, when we come home for the Bengals game. Very, very excited for that. I'm tempering expectations. I'm not expecting, a 20-touch, 150-yard, 3-touchdown game from Nick Chubb. But it's just great to see that he will be returning to the field and that, his career, what we thought may have possibly been a career-ending injury, it's wonderful.
So I guess that'll know how to talk about this right now because I'm firmly expecting the Browns to be 1-5.
Okay.
Next week going into the home game in Cleveland. I'm just going to go ahead and be the negative Nancy here for a little bit.
Surely.
So awesome news about Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yes.
Obviously so excited to see him back. I mean, like you said, that was an injury that when it happened, it was like, son of a bitch, we just lost our best player, one of my favorite all-time Cleveland Browns players forever. Like he's done.
Yep.
And that was kind of the sentiment around the league. Like that's a career ender.
Yep.
He'll never come back from this. And then it was, wow, maybe he can come back from this, but it's going to be some time.
Yeah.
We're week 6 or 7, whatever it's going to be. Like that's a testament to Nick Chubb and his work ethic and his training and rehab to be able to get back.
He's different.
He is built so different.
Yep.
But for me, bringing Nick Chubb back week 7 against the Bengals, and this is just the way I see it going, it's kind of like a Hail Mary attempt to keep the boos off the field.
Yeah.
Or out of the stadium as long as possible, because unless something totally bizarre happens today, I see nothing changing. Just to kind of give you guys my preview for the game, I see nothing changing against the Eagles. It's going to be 1-5 at home, and maybe Nick Chubb being on the field for the first play is the only thing that keeps the fan base in that stadium from booing that offense, and obviously primarily Deshaun Watson at the start of the game. That's my very pessimistic outlook on it, but there you go.
I get it, man. I get it. I mean, heading into today, it's been a lot of the same, So I completely understand where you're coming from. Just a weird part of me, I think it's just because for years of my life, I've just kind of always been like, hey, we can win this. Even when the odds were stacked against us, even when we were absolutely awful, I would be like, hey, we have a chance. And sometimes they would, cash in on that. And then sometimes I'd be like, well, that's kind of what I thought it would be. At least we made it interesting for a few quarters. I will say, if the Browns somehow come out and they're able to pull this off, because I mean, I don't think there's a bigger underdog in the league today as far as like the money line, the odds, you know, the over under.
What, 9-point underdogs?
Last I checked, it was 8.5. But I mean, if it went to 9, I wouldn't be shocked at all, you know. But if there is some chance that they are able to pull off this in Philly, the hot seat will not be Kevin for a week. The hot seat will be Nick Sirianni will be getting fired probably Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rough, right? They're a team. Their roster is so good. Phillies. I mean,
it's kind of like us. Like, we've got a good roster.
Yep,
we do.
But it's just kind of, there's some like weird. They're kind of just a weird dysfunctional team. You're hearing stuff with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts can't get on the same page, and I expect the defense to come out and you know, hopefully punch them in the mouth and maybe, you know, hold firm for as long as they can. The offense has to do something today. They're
like maybe pick up a first down.
First down
would be wonderful.
Or third down conversions. I would like to see us get out of the, you know, 8% range from last week and then get to maybe, like, if we could go 7 for 12, that would be exciting. I don't know where I'm getting, you know, this spark of optimism, but look, it's tough right now. You know what I mean? It is very, very bleak. Anybody that says that you're crazy, you're right. There's completely fine if you're a Browns fan to go, there's no reason to be excited about today. I get it. I just think, you know, deep down, I'm like, hey, let's go mess around and screw the league up a little bit this week.
On the positive side, we should have, and I have not seen any official reports. So if you guys in the chat have seen anything, because we've been in here doing the interviews and stuff, so haven't been checking all the news reports, but I think Michael Hall's going to play today.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So we get a little help on the defensive line. I believe Maurice Hurst was reactivated or activated back off of IR. I think he was on IR. So, I mean, our defensive front is getting a boost.
Yep.
Which is good. We're going to need that against Saquon Barkley, who I think has he has the potential to just completely boat race us today.
Game wreck.
Just
game breaker us. Yeah.
Now, if we're able to shut it down, that'd be great. They are getting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both back off of injury. These guys are coming off a bye, and we don't have our top 3 safeties.
Yeah.
So we've got Delpit, Thornhill, Hickman are all out. Yeah. It's going to be D'Anthony Bell, and I don't even know who else we have off the top of my head at safety, to be honest with you.
Rodney? Or is he...
McLeod. Yeah. Okay. That hasn't been exactly great.
Okay.
This season.
You know, he does have a touchdown this year, so that's more than better than the offensive players.
Cleveland Browns offense defense has 1 interception so far this season.
Yeah, and then there's been opportunities though.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's not like it's been completely bleak. Like there's been moments and there's been opportunities that just haven't cashed yet. But yeah, I mean, trust me, Josh, I get it. I completely understand how you feel about this going into this.
Jack in the chat says we need defensive points to win games. We do.
Yeah.
Last week, like I get it. We scored 13. Woohoo! But really it was 6.
Yeah.
Because it was a late garbage time touchdown. So it'd be nice to score a touchdown when it matters. You know, when the game is still a game.
Yes. And I think that's going to be part of the game today. Like, I don't think you can let them get ahead. If they get ahead, let's say 10 points.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, I don't want to just call out the defensive side of the ball, but I feel like we've seen when they get down 10 points, it's almost like, well, it's over. We cannot recover from this. So I think if the defense can just play out of their minds, hair on fire, try to lock down a super potent offense. I mean, we watched the Commanders just kind of carve us up last week, you know, second half especially. We can't leave the defense on the field the whole game either. You know what I mean? Like I think it's critical that something got figured out this week. I don't know what it is. You know, I'm not in the building, but if it's the same old dance, it's going to be another very long 3 hours.
It is. Kevin was asked obviously earlier in the week, has there been, I think the question was, has there been a conversation about making a quarterback change? And he said no. Okay, I understand. Like, you're not going to come up here at the podium in front of the media and be like, "Yeah, we've been talking about what we're going to do at that." Like, obviously, no. Like, you do, come on. Like, that, we all sniff bullshit on that one because, of course, there's got to be conversations going on. I think Kenny, what do you say here in the chat? Positive outlook. Winston goes in and the D line dominates. We eke out a win. I don't see outside of injury any way that Winston goes in the game. I think that the Browns are committed to Watson and to pushing through, and they think that there's. I'm guessing they're praying there's some kind of breakthrough in that department. But you talked about it on Monday. This Eagles defensive front is nasty.
Yes,
they've got dudes.
Got a lot of dudes.
And you look at these other teams. I think it was like the Giants was the first one that really shocked us because their rate of pressure wasn't super high or alarming or anything. And then they came against us and it was, we're going to pressure you every freaking play.
Yeah. Well, and that's been the theme. You know what I mean? You're seeing teams that blitz maybe 15% of the time to 20% of the time are just full sending. And why not? You know what I mean? We haven't to this point been able to figure out. It looks like our offensive line, there's a little bit of confusion sometimes. When it's not confusion and they do hold up, there's confusion in the back because quarterback isn't seeing things well at this point. I mean, we talked about the film breakdown and stuff, and it's very disturbing. It's very.
Yeah,
I understand why you would say, hey,
running from clean pockets is a problem. That's a problem.
Sure.
Running from clean pockets into a sack. Running from clean pockets into a sack when there are guys open for first downs. It's maddening. It's just, you watch that film, it's like, throw the ball. The guy's right there.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder we can't pick up first downs. And it's not because we're not scheming guys open. The plays are there.
Yeah.
Do I wish that we would dial back the pass happy nature of this offense right now? Yes, absolutely. I do. I think that we need to get back to establishing the run and imposing our will at the line of scrimmage and physicality up front and all that kind of stuff. But even if we do want to keep going 75, 80% pass or whatever the rate has been, so far this season, there's guys open.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's just all between the ears, man. I think
sure.
you know what I mean? There's major, I don't think he trusts what he sees. I don't think he trusts the offensive line. I'm not making excuses. This is what there has to be a reason why you scramble out of a clean pocket.
Seeing ghosts. You said it before the show.
Seeing Sam Darnold, seeing ghosts, man. That kind of, I think, what's going on.
It's 100%. Deshaun is not trusting what he's seeing on the field. He's seeing things that aren't there. So it goes back to he's not trusting what he's seeing. There's guys open, but he's in his mind or the way he's seeing it, they must be covered. Yep. He's in a clean pocket. In his mind, he's getting pressured.
Yeah,
it's not clean.
There,
and he's not, like last year, there were moments where clean pocket and it would collapse around the sides and he would step up, make a throw, step up, make a run.
Yep.
He's not stepping up in the pocket. He's running backwards. He's running lateral. He's trying to escape all the time. And that's why we're getting sacked so much. I don't see any way, and guys, I apologize if I'm being too negative, but I think people in the chat here kind of see it too. I don't see any way we got out of this game less than 6 sacks. They could push for 10. Matthew in the chat, I love it. Running the spread offense with our personnel is like hiring Stevie Wonder to drive your race car.
That's fair.
Accurate. That's accurate. Let's see. Phil says 0 faith in this team.
It's fair.
Dion,
Phil.
Eagles head coach, is coaching for his job. Like Justin
Absolutely.
said, Kevin is comfortable, so the Eagles are going to win 26-16. We talked about this with Felix, right? And he pretty much agreed. He said, the former players right now, when they get together and they talk about this team at the current team, and they just kind of shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know, man. Like, and I told him, I said, I don't feel the passion from this team.
Well, I mean, we've seen it week in, week out now. It just comes out and it's not organized. It's not, I think you touched on it big time. Like, the energy is flat. You were like, last year, they would have ran through a wall for each other. And I just don't think any of that is happening. And I don't know if it's because the locker room is lost. It's early on in the season. But, man, it does not look – the body language
We saw week 1
of leaders on the team is very, very.
Do you remember week 1? We were up there.
Yeah.
So I went to the game with Justin. We're sitting up there, and I remember I think you looked at me at one point, and it was so clear on the field. It was Amari Cooper was the main one. You're like, that body language looks bad. Like it just looks bad out.
And then they replayed the play, and he was rolling his eyes.
Yeah, rolling his eyes and his
stuff
head.
That we can't see from space in my seats, which but it's and that was week 1.
Yes.
You know what
so
I mean?
When you say it's still early in the season, I feel like we are at a do or die moment where it's late in the season for this team to have any sort of hope for 2024.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there were games that we should have already. There were make or break games. I would say, early on we're like, is the Jacksonville game already like a must win? And like, luckily we won that game, right?
Right.
And we're a dropped Hail Mary from a backup tight end away from not having a win right
now. Dude, you know what? That's a great point. That's a great point.
And a shitty weather game.
Yeah. And Jacksonville's a 1-4 team. Looks like they're about to be 1-5 after they lose in London here in a little bit. And that's our one win. And like you said, it was a dropped Hail Mary pass at the end of the game. Could have made all the difference. Like we could be 0-5 right now.
Great punt. You know what I mean? Like there were so many things, even with the punt and the safety and all that, and we still almost let it slip.
Yeah.
It's just like I felt like the Giants game was and who knows, maybe, I mean, the NFL is weird. Maybe the Giants are better than we thought they were. Obviously, the Commanders look like they're better.
Yes.
Way better
Their defense is still exploitable, which is and I think, and Felix even, it's funny how much he alluded to some of these things. And he said, like, that game against the Commanders, that was one that, like, that's a game where we should have been able to do some things on offense. And he's like, and we didn't.
Not at all. Yeah.
It's concerning. Amatora in the chat, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, says this could very easily be Watson's last game starting in the NFL ever. I could see it. I could totally see it. I just have a hard time picturing it. He's already had two single-digit QBR games in five weeks. I have a very hard time picturing them benching him.
I have a very hard time seeing Jimmy Haslam calling down and saying, get him out there. Yeah. Because that's what it comes down. I think either way, so Kevin could probably, if they play like crap all year, he's probably going to be on the hot seat and may get fired. But I think if he benches Watson, I think he's probably, that might be a fireable offense in Jimmy's eyes too.
I don't see Watson getting benched during the game today. For me, the only way that this is his last game ever starting in the NFL is if he gets injured and he has to miss time and Winston comes in and things look better and we start winning games. And then there's, say it's not a season ending injury type thing. It's like a 2-week thing or it's a concussion or something, like these guys get. And it's like, well, now what do we do? Now there's a conversation to be had whenever he's eligible to come back. But I just don't see, he could go out there and have a 7 QBR game and Kevin's going to get asked tomorrow if they're switching quarterbacks and he's going to say, no, we're not making a quarterback change. Right. And next Sunday is going to be brutal in the stadium. Yep.
So, I think Dion, that's very fair. The $172 million dead cap, that weighs heavily on the whole situation.
I don't know if it's enough to keep him as the starter for like the whole season or even like into next year, but it's definitely enough to keep him on the roster.
For sure.
He's on the payroll. Sure.
The crazy thing is, like, I think if you bench him, I don't know if you can go back. You know what I mean? It's one of those things
where winning games. No.
Right. Well, even if I'm not saying it's going to be last year reincarnated. You know what I mean? Like the Flacco and stuff like that. Well, we talked about it. Even last year, we looked like a functional football team. It wasn't pretty all the way. You know what I mean? We needed a lot of things to go our way and calls to, go our way that we never got to get some wins and get to the playoffs. But like, it just looks completely different. Everything from top to bottom just looks a mess.
No, you're right. I mean, in last season, we talk about it all the time, but it could have been a completely different season record-wise. The 49ers kicker makes the field goal at the end of the game. Sure. We lose that game. The Colts call doesn't go against. Sure. We lose that game.
Chicago,
they catch that Hail Mary. Yep. We don't win that game. So they're like you said, one or two plays can drastically impact the outcome of the overall record. But it was the play, like you're alluding to here, the play during the game. Like, we weren't flat in those games. No. Yeah, we made mistakes. Yeah, we screwed up. Yeah, we came close to losing, but we weren't flat. We were competitive. And that's the thing. We were competitive. We are not a competitive football team right now.
Yep. And they rallied around each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There was excitement.
And there was, if the defense was sucking, the offense picked up the slack.
Yes.
If the offense was struggling, the defense came up with big turnovers, and they offset each other, and they played in tandem, and it was all working. Nothing's working right now. These guys, nobody's in sync. It's tough to watch. It really, really is. Let's see. I'm just reading some of the chat here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys tuning in with us here. I know, like we said, starting off, this was not planned. We didn't really schedule this ahead of time because we thought, well, we'll try to do a live after Felix leaves. We'll see how long that interview goes and all that kind of stuff. So glad we had the opportunity to do this. What the team had? Andrew Jack said the team had fight last year. Jack says this year feels more normal than last year. Back to being the Browns.
It's fair.
Oh man, there is definitely a whole lot of that going on.
It's fair, and I will not call out anybody for being negative or anything like that. I feel like I'm kind of like a 101 right now, trying to be positive. You know what I mean?
There's plenty of people that still want to have hope, and I'm not saying I don't have hope. I do think that there's a very very clear path to at least having the possibility of turning this thing around.
This year.
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
Now, for me, where the negativity comes from is that path will not be taken.
That's fair.
The Browns are not going to take that path to turn things around. So that's why I'm like, well, I don't expect anything to change.
I told somebody the other day, I was like, it's kind of, the Browns this year is kind of like going to a steak restaurant, like a really nice, you go out with your wife or your special, your lady or whatever, and you get a nice steak, and it's like they bring you a double cheeseburger from McDonald's out. And you're like, what the hell is this? This isn't what you promised me. This isn't what you told me I was getting. I can't believe I'm paying $200. Do I have to tip for this? But it is rough. And I will continue to rally around this team. And it's a thing, win or lose, that this is my team. Thank God for the Guardians. Yeah. Just in case, shout out the Guardians just real quick, just in case things get ugly today. It's, they feels good. I feel good about that team. They're giving me some special vibes,
Yep, that was fun. And then we got Ohio State last night. Not so fun.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be okay. It's number 2 against number 3. It's 12-team playoff.
It wasn't even the fact that they lost. It was how it went down. And I know this isn't a Buckeyes pod. We won't dive into it, but the end of that game, it was very Brownsian. Let's put it that way.
DeAndre Black said the Browns are a catfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you, what's that dating thing? What's the swipe thing called? Tinder. It's like, Tinder. And when, it's just somebody.
Oh, look at this roster.
Yeah.
And then you show up for the date and it's like.
Gorgeous chick, but then it ends up being a dude. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This is tricky.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Browns roster on paper is like the hot chick. And then the Browns team on the field, that's the dude that showed up to the date. Dude, you're like, no, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Nope.
At least we get to laugh and like have fun. Yeah. But I do. It sucks because I think a lot of the changes that I think that we would need for you, like what you said, for it to turn around, I think are all coming straight from the top. And you got an owner that we've gave him flowers when with contracts and stuff like that and restructuring, and he's paid a lot out of pocket. But I think you're hearing a lot of, hey, make this work. You guys told me that this was a surefire thing. This is all we needed. We let our other quarterback walk. And obviously, I'm not supporting Baker on this thing or anything, because I don't think he was ready to step into like franchise mode right now.
Anybody that wants to look at what Baker's doing this year and just copy paste that to the Browns, you can't do that.
No.
You can't do that.
I mean, if you want to make a comparison with something like that, you could say, hey, maybe you guys should have signed Flacco. You know what I mean? But then even the noise in the room leading up, like,
it
wouldn't have mattered anyway.
And I've been talking to people on social media all week about this stuff too, because obviously now it's, okay, so this is definitely the worst trade ever, blah, 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 blah. And Blake says this all the time. I agree 100%. I'll never be mad at the Browns for making the move.
Absolutely not.
There was an opportunity to go out and get what you believed was a franchise-changing player at the most important position in sports.
Yeah.
And you didn't just go out and kick the tires on it. You went out and freaking made it happen against. There were 3 other teams that already had bids in that were accepted There was another team that the contract was pretty much already signed.
Yep.
And you came in and made it. You did what you had to do. Now, looking back now, it's like, it sucks. It's
Gave up a lot for
gave up
not a lot.
But you took the shot.
Yes,
and I'll never be mad because I've spent my entire life looking at, the Cody Kesslers of the world playing the Deshaun Kaisers.
The jersey.
Yes.
The jersey with 30 names on the back.
Would you please, God, just go out and make a move? Just try. And that's what the Browns did. And I'll never be mad at them for trying. Now, this try didn't work. It doesn't mean you stop trying.
No.
Now, it doesn't mean you go out and you give up your next 3 first rounders for
Bryce Young.
Right. And and I get it. The off-field stuff, the year off.
Situation. Yeah.
It's what made Deshaun available.
Yep.
And it's probably also what made him irrelevant now.
That's very fair. Yeah.
So you took the shot. It didn't work. But my biggest gripe now with the organization is it's not that you took the shot. It's that you can't just swallow your pride and admit that it didn't work and move on so we can watch some freaking competitive football on Sundays.
Yep.
I'm just so sick of wallowing in the mistake. You made a mistake. Own up to it. Say, whoops. And now we're going to deal with the cap in our own way, whatever we got to do. But put a team out there that can win.
Yep.
Please, or at least look competitive. I'm sick and tired of watching 3 and out. And our defense just look atrocious because it's gassed.
Oh, you can script it. You can literally script a Rob. Now, not the first drive. First drive is probably going to be pretty decent. The scripted drive seems to be pretty decent most weeks. But anything after that, probably a holding penalty on first down. Probably going to throw it for 2 yards on second down. Third down is going to be a sack. Let's punt the ball away.
Yep.
I've seen that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's frustrating. And if you think that Browns fans next week are going to go into the stadium and, like we've talked about it, they're going to be a rah-rah for intros, and then immediately will be extremely, extremely bitter and frustrated. I'm telling you, I sit in that stadium every week. The things that are being said behind me, I'm turning around and I sit on the away side. My season tickets I turn around and go, is that a Browns fan or just a Giants fan? Oh my God, and who knows, but I can't, that stadium will be so bitter and frustrated and aggressive next week, and not for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
I mean,
completely at our own team.
Yeah. The only time that there's going to be cheers is is it, like you said, the intros and anytime Nick Chubb touches the ball. Other than that, I mean, I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns, if you guys think that having Nick Chubb active next week is enough to overcome what is going to happen if you, just admit it. Just admit the mistake. And I'm just so tired of watching.
It's fair. I get it, man. I get it. And I don't even get. We've talked about it. I don't even get upset anymore when I'm watching the game. Like I used to pound the table and be like, "What are we doing?" Yeah. I don't. I just sit there and I'm like, I know I'm gonna have 40 people tomorrow tell me, "Hey, what happened yesterday with your team?" And I'm gonna go, "Yeah, hey,
same thing is happening.
Hey, we kind of stink right now." And honestly, I think we'll see what this team character-wise is built of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've already said that I think we've already played some make or break games. We're into the tough part now. From this game forward, there's no easy games, I don't think. You know what I mean? The schedule's
supposed to be our
brutal.
easy stretch, man. We're playing all these defenses at the beginning of the season that are exploitable. I mean, if our offense was any good at all, like it was touted to us all offseason, all preseason, it's going to be juicy. Oh, there's going to be touchdowns. Oh, blah, blah, blah. All this 5-wide spread, explosive, blah, blah, blah.
Not juicy.
We should have beat the living snot out of the Commanders because we should have put up 30 plus.
Yep.
Should have done the same thing against the Giants.
Yep.
The Jaguars are atrocious on defense. The Cowboys aren't very good this year. The Raiders, are you kidding me? We struggled to put up points against the Raiders. Oh my gosh. We're screwed when we start playing Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs, I
think
Broncos.
the thing that's tough, right, is like you said, these were the defenses to exploit. And now, obviously, the Bengals, I'm not sold on their defense. Their defense is god-awful.
Well, we won't exploit them.
That's my fear. And I think that's a fair worry moving forward. Kerry, I was also laughing. I've been laughing for probably
it got to that
3 weeks. 3 weeks. And I'm just like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Really, what do you do?
It was, so for me, and we talked about this a lot in the last week, but it was the 12 men on the field situation. That whole sequence. Where we had to call timeout and all that stuff. And then we go out on the field and we get what was it? It was timeout penalty, or was it penalty timeout? I don't know.
We called the timeout and I can't remember if the penalty happened. Well, which penalty?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The offsides.
Okay. I think that was after, but like that's like almost like the perfect model for how things have gone.
Jerry Jeudy dropped touchdown.
Yep.
And then, everybody was harping on Deshaun for walking to the field.
No.
Now, obviously he didn't just quit on the play. It was a bad look. I will say that. Like, probably don't walk off the field. Probably maybe walk towards your head coach, but just wait till I don't know, whatever.
Right.
I understand there's emotion in the game. That whole situation for me, though, was just like a microcosm of the whole offensive situation where it's like nobody knows what they're doing. They got 12 men on the field. Amari Cooper's out there trying to count guys. The coach, Kevin's going, what? You can tell he's frustrated. He's like, what are we doing? And he's like, you got to be freaking kidding me. It's like, yeah. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get 3 more points here while we're down 31-3.
Right.
Freaking joke. I want to make sure our chat is moving
very quickly.
Way too fast. Let me scroll up and see here.
I will shout some things out real quick. Joe Flacco starting again. Fantasy people.
I did see that.
Put all of Colts receivers in.
Yeah.
Richardson's out.
Tony, thanks for the super chat. He says, listen, as long as we have these therapy sessions, we can get through the season.
Yeah.
That's kind of our approach, too. That's what we're doing here.
It's fair.
We're going to be here. We'll be here tomorrow night live. So, after whatever happens today, probably, I don't know. We haven't talked to Blake on time, but it'll probably be like 6:30 tomorrow night live here on YouTube. So we'll be doing our weekly therapy session tomorrow. I highly doubt it's going to be a Victory Monday.
You never know.
Never know.
Anything can happen.
Oh, man. Tommy says if they fall flat again today, you can bet there'll be a lot of empty seats next week at home, no matter if Chubb comes back or not. That's fair.
I think people will show up.
I think they're still going to
Chubb, but they won't stay long after that.
I've talked all week about the Browns fan base doesn't deserve what's happening right now. They don't. We don't.
That's fair.
We as a fan base, we're the most loyal fan base. You're never going to convince me otherwise. I mean, the fan base will show out. They will party and tailgate and cheer on this team in the worst weather, the worst situations. I mean, miss me with any other fan base's BS. We went through 131 and we're still here. Yep. We were still here right away the following seasons. We don't go away. We don't bounce around, leave, come back. We're always here. Yep. But man, guys, put a freaking competitive football team on this field, please. Yes, the product is garbage.
Oh, Aaron. Good to see you today, buddy.
Hey, all right. Awesome.
Oh, hey, I can always expect Aaron Butler in the chat, especially after a Baltimore win. If you guys lose today, I wouldn't expect you in tomorrow, but I can get you back on the week after.
So I think Pee Wee's Burnt Pizza must be talking about maybe your optimism. He says all of a sudden they're supposed to block, catch, run, and pass in 1 week. Yeah, that's a fair point. It's a fair point. Though Blake has made the point a lot, and I did want to mention this. Kenny Mack, who is in the chat, or at least he was, I don't know if he still is. Kenny, if you're still out there, throw it in. Him and Blake did a Trending Topics episode yesterday, which I thought was excellent. Did you listen to it?
Yes.
It was fire. They went on social media and kind of picked the hot trending topics in Browns Nation and addressed the topics and their opinions on it. And I thought that was really, really good. They're going to try to do more of those during the season, which that was a really fun episode. Head over to, if you're on YouTube here, just scroll down, check that one out. That was pretty good. I kind of forget my train of thought with that.
Okay.
We were talking about something that was mentioned on that show, and whatever, it escaped me.
Okay. Well, hell yeah.
Oh, no, now I remember, because Blake has been saying, he said it on that show yesterday, the problems are not all on Deshaun Watson, clearly. This team has problems across the board.
Yes.
But he is the biggest of the problems, and a lot of the other problems do stem from him because, again, if you've got receivers running routes all game when they're wide open and they're not getting the passes, or the passes are complete. I think, what's the stat? 45% of Amari Cooper's incomplete passes have been deemed uncatchable, off target.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, and that's the thing where it's
it doesn't excuse drop passes, but it explains it.
Right.
If that makes sense. I'm not looking for an excuse. I'm looking for a reason.
And he's the guy that's supposed to elevate, everybody else on that team. Obviously you can't, I don't expect Deshaun Watson to pass block, and you know what I mean? Like, there's things that are out of his hand, but
yeah, Kenny said this the other day. Quarterbacks, you get all the glory when you win. Guess what? You get all the blame when you lose.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you can't take it, don't play quarterback.
Yep.
It just kind of is what it is. I mean, if you want to, people, Deshaun's record was this last year. Well, okay, well then it was this year, and it's terrible. I did the comparison from last year. He was so much better last year than he was this year. It's why we had the optimism and the hope coming in that he could continue to build on that. Like I said, his highest QBR game this season would have been his third lowest last year.
That's tough. Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yep.
I mean, 21 QBR for the season so far in 5 games. It's the lowest of the entire league. I mean, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, these guys who aren't playing very well,
we're talking about getting benched,
are higher than him. So, and yeah, you just said, right, Joe Flacco, we'll get to see him again today. Yep. So it's going to be another shitstorm on socials.
In my lineups, and
yeah,
that's the only the only takeaway I'm getting with it.
Yeah, Truth says, whoa, a tailgate live. Yeah, buddy, you missed it. Thanks for jumping in at the end. I'm just messing with you, buddy. We got some good fantasy matchups today going on as well.
Absolutely.
I don't know, but we've got to get moving here. Justin's got to go get his kids.
Yeah, my mother-in-law texted me. She's going to pick the kids up and then meet me at Shenanigans.
Oh,
so I'm just heading
directly. We do have a little bit of breathing room here.
Yeah, we're heading straight there.
Okay, cool. So again, if you guys are local to Tuscarawas County here in Ohio, head over to Shenanigans Bar and Grill in Dover. Hang out with Justin and the crew. Felix Wright's over there. It's just a great place to be. The Tuscarawas County Brownsbackers are awesome.
They're awesome.
They do some awesome things. I mean, shout out to them again because they're the ones who hooked us up with Stump Mitchell last summer, which was awesome.
Yep.
And big announcement that we forgot to do at the tail end of the Felix Wright interview. But on November 17th, I believe it is, the New Orleans Saints game Sunday. Mm-hmm. Will be Greg Pruitt.
Excellent.
Greg Pruitt will be at Shenanigans with the Tuscarawas County Brownsbackers. We're going to be taking our mobile unit over there to the bar. We're going to sit down and have an interview with him. So that's going to be a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
So if you guys are interested in doing these things, meeting former Browns alum, they do these kind of events. I mean, obviously they do the watch parties every week.
Yes.
But Tuscarawas County Brownsbackers, get a hold of Rich Dessecker. Just awesome group.
Yep.
We got Kenny here in the chat. He heads up the Ottawa Brownsbackers up there. I mean, it's just awesome. Again, it just goes back to Browns fans being the best. Even Aaron Butler is a Browns fan at heart because he never misses a single one of our lives or any of our episodes. He's always here supporting the team, supporting the podcast.
I know you guys give him shit. I feel like me and Aaron have like a nice friendly rivalry. It's not right now, but I pray we've made bets for the last few years, so I pray I don't have to wear a Ravens shirt on this show. And if we turn it around, hey, I can't wait to hear that intro, Aaron. That's what we're doing.
Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza. Why is this a disaster? What happened? This truly makes my heart hurt. I'm so sick and tired of watching the Browns implode every season. Hey, we didn't implode last season. We actually exploded somehow against all odds. It's just, man, I know Blake said it before. I think it all stems from the team. The players don't believe in the quarterback. That's what I'm feeling watching the team on the field. They just feel they look defeated. Mm-hmm. It just kind of looks like when they go on the field, they know, it's probably going to be 3 and out. I think there was one point in the game last week. Jake Burns on Twitter posted. It was right after the turnover, I think.
The strip sack.
Yeah, and he said, "All right, we just got the ball. Punt team ready." And the punt team says, "Coach, it's 1st and 10." I said what I said.
Jesus God.
Oh man. Yeah, Most Def is talking about missing Stump Mitchell
and Callahan for run game coordination.
Callahan, I think it's not just like a one coach situation. I think it's just a conglomeration of things. And I mean, the thing with the run game, I can't even evaluate the run game right now, dude, because we don't do it. We don't use it. We don't try to establish it. We make no effort, no attempt whatsoever to run the ball.
Yeah,
I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it's not like. Jerome Ford had like a 5.6 average last week. I think both guys were over 5 on their averages. Now I know Ford had the big run late in the game or whatever, but we just don't do it. We just don't even
like the 0-yard plays. I think with Chubb, he can make those like 3-yard gains. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of rough.
It is.
It's rough.
And I feel like so many times you see teams like when your quarterback's struggling, which happens. I mean, no quarterback plays 17 perfect games. Everybody goes through little stretches where maybe they're on a little bit of a slump. They're not throwing touchdown passes. Maybe their turnovers are a little higher. Whatever. Like it happens. But when quarterbacks are struggling, a lot of times teams will turn to their run game. We'll focus on, let's take the pressure off the quarterback. Let's focus on the run game. Let's try to establish the line of scrimmage. Let's do all these other things. Let's do these short, quick passes. Let's get the ball out quickly. Let's get a rhythm going. Like they do all these things to try to adjust, and I feel like we don't do any of that. It's just drop back and throw again. You got Andrew?
Yeah, it was last year the outlier, and this is the real team. I don't know, man. I don't even know, bro. I think it just looks like a regression on every phase. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's the defense isn't playing. I mean, obviously there's a ton of missed tackles and like there's some miscommunication. MJ Emerson's playing off like 15 yards off the receiver and, a 3rd and 3. I don't know what the hell we're doing sometimes. Right. But, everybody top to bottom, it looks a lot shittier. And by a lot shittier, I mean like really bad. Like, what are we doing?
You can't even find the words.
What are we doing?
Oh, man. And like, so if you guys, make sure you guys stay tuned. I think probably Tuesday, the interview with Felix Wright will come out. So check that out because he even talked about, like you used to talk about the missed tackles on defense and everything. And he takes it all the way back to preseason and training camp. Like these guys don't tackle. And he was talking about back when he played, they tackled all training camp, all preseason.
They played preseason.
He said, we tackled Wednesdays and Thursday, every week of practice. Like we were physical in practice because if you want to be a physical and a good tackling football team on Sundays, you have to do it during practice.
Right.
I feel like we practice soft, we prepare soft.
We're soft.
And we're soft. And you're seeing it. I mean, there's no other. Why do we look soft on Sundays? Because that's just kind of how we are during the week.
I know there's like an emphasis too on like safety and like coaches are worried about injuries. You don't want to like send a guy out there and get hurt, but like it's almost like the non-preparation, the non-lead up to the season causes more injuries. Yeah. We just have injuries all over the place again. And it's just like
your body just isn't. And that's another thing we can talk about real fast. So like David Njoku's going to play today. Well, or at least last I saw. Mm-hmm. That's good. Conklin will be active. I believe Jed Wills, right? I don't think those guys are. I didn't see anything.
I'm checking.
Yeah, usually pull it up. I didn't see anything.
Browns, Denzel Ward's active.
Okay. Thank God, because we don't have any safeties. I know it'll be Nick Harris at center. We don't have Posick, which I don't know if that's a downgrade or how much of a downgrade that even is right now because Posick's not playing well. Zinter obviously will be starting at right guard. Batonio at left guard. And then I'm guessing it's going to be Jack and Jed at the tackle. So the thing
I guess there's hope for optimistic there.
I mean, and Zinter obviously being a rookie, but he's not been bad. He hasn't been like great, but he's rookie. I think he's holding his own well enough to get the job done. And Nick Harris, obviously, he was good enough to be our starter a couple years ago. So he's a playable center. There's really no excuse today. Like we'll watch the film again this week, but if there's clean pockets and we're still not getting the job done, then it's really hard to blame everything on the offensive line. Are they great? No. Is it all their fault? No.
Well, get ready because so inactives today we have Grant Delpit, DTR, but he's the third quarterback. Right. Ronnie Hickman, Ethan Posick's out. Jordan Hicks is out, which that's another devastating.
Whether it's Walker or Hicks, it's like we can't get this middle linebacker thing to freaking stick.
Quentin Jefferson's out. Jamari Thrash is out. Nick Harris is starting at center. Michael Dunn starting at right guard. Devin Bush at linebacker, and then DeAnthony Bell and Rodney at safety.
Oh, Dunn starting at right guard?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're starting Michael Dunn instead of Zinter. Huh?
And then there's literally just the rest of it. There's paragraphs of just we're elevating, we're moving.
Yeah, Amateur says Jerome Ford is atrocious at run blocking. Agreed. He is also a big issue in the pass blocking. He's a big issue in the pass blocking game. And there's so many players on this team that I had such high hopes for going into the season. I was excited to see like Cedric Tillman. I wanted to see him take a step forward, and you can't take a step forward whenever your number one receiver is not getting catchable targets.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy watched the film last week, could have had a 100+ yard game, 2 touchdown opportunity. Obviously he did drop 1 touchdown. That was on him, but could have had a much bigger game, was open so much and just didn't even get the ball thrown to him. It's just hard to expect anything. I mean, I see people go, what's going on with Jamari Thrash? I'd love to see Jamari Thrash too. And I think after we lose the next couple games, we'll probably see more Jamari Thrash just to try to get some experience out there.
Yep. Guys start getting traded. Most Def said the Browns lost. It's already happened. That's good. I like that, man. That's good. No, I'm gonna be optimistic about it, and we'll see what hell happens. But it's tough. I get it.
Don't take any of the negativity for. Don't hear what we're not saying. I want the Browns to win.
I do too.
I want Deshaun Watson to come out today and light it up. I want him to carve up the Eagles' very exploitable secondary.
Sure.
Amari Cooper to have a big game, touchdowns. I want us to put up 30+ points and just
break the
wreck
streak.
it and get everybody talking like, whoa, maybe the Browns were just slow starting. Maybe they're for real. And let's get some momentum, some energy heading into Cincinnati. I'm not going to predict it, though. It's not my prediction.
Let's go shock the world.
Let's go shock the world.
I'm not going to tell you how we're going to do it because God knows I don't know. But let's go shock the world.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We got to get moving. We got to get ready to watch the game, I guess, or at least part of it until we get like, we'll see.
I'll watch the whole thing.
I will too, but might not be happy
only so we can talk about it Monday.
Tomorrow. Yeah, so make sure you guys come back tomorrow night. Therapy session for this week will be about, 6 or 6:30 tomorrow night, depending on Blake's schedule. We'll post that out tomorrow morning. We'll be live here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and let's go Browns.
Craig said I'm smoking the devil's lettuce. Not in a long time, brother. Just positive.
Just positive.
I got kids now. Hey, go Browns or whatever.
Go Browns or whatever. All right. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk.